Good morning, YouTube. If you're watching this as a rerun, you can skip ahead here about 17 minutes. So there you go. You got that going for you, which is nice. Here, I'm just playing with levels a little bit here, so just checking some things out. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. All that good stuff. And yes, I am. I'm going to be heading to the stock show here today, Wayne. So we came down last night, had the bull sale in Morristown, South Dakota yesterday, and just drove down here, stayed and crashed in lead here is what we did. That's working. So yeah, after the show, head over to the stock show in Rapid City and doing some interviews. Good morning, Dave. Thanks for tuning in here this morning. But yeah, go over and do some interviews here for iHeartRadio. Mr. Bolche, I believe you're going to be there too, aren't you? You're probably over there just sitting over there having a beer with John right now. Check. So yeah, that's about what we got going on here today. Let's see if I can get old Mr. Armanian on here. It's working. What?
Good morning, Sunshine.
Good morning. You're live on YouTube in the morning pre-show.
All right. I like your office. I was looking at that on YouTube.
Yeah, how do you like
Where'd
that?
Where'd you get that fancy office at?
Yeah, I tell you, it's the only quiet place I can do that in the entire thing without waking the wife up. All right, so it's my little studio away from home. What I'd like to do is behind me get one of those pull-up screen things, where it has like stuff on it. So someday, man, I'm actually talking with two casinos in Lead, or excuse me, in Deadwood, to see if they have good enough internet to be able to do the show from there and have like them be like the show sponsor for the day.
Oh, cool.
But and not a whole lot of people are gambling at 7 a.m, so that would work out pretty good. But, yeah. But yeah, I that's about it. So Wayne says Judy and I are taking our granddaughters to the PRC rodeo tonight. Well, we'll probably see you there, Wayne. I think I have tickets to that too. Scott, yes, we're gonna have breakfast, same place last year. I can't remember where we had, bro. That okay, gotcha. Morning, Jim. Scott Bulgy says, Scott, even my wife says good morning. Well, good morning. All right, let's see. Karen, good morning to you. Good, thanks for being on here this morning. I'll give a time. Let's see here. I'll do it here in about 30 seconds. So, all right, John. How you been? You got some
I've been good.
Get your turkey tag applied for?
I did. I got to get my South Dakota tags in though.
Yeah, the what is archery elk applications open on the 8th.
And for South Dakota?
Correct.
We can a non-resident can't put in for archery elk, can you?
Probably not, but
what the heck? Shelby is now an official South Dakota resident.
Where's she living at?
She is living actually in the hills with her boyfriend's family right now.
Cool.
They're right below the presidents. So
right below the presidents?
Yeah, right.
Way down that way. Holy shit.
In Hill City, yeah.
Okay.
She's working in Rapid City for a dental office and is loving life.
Well, I tell you, South Dakota has some good stuff. I mean, their mountain lion season runs long, and they have a lot of up to 60 or 40 females, whichever goes first.
Yeah, her boyfriend shot one just a couple weeks ago.
Good.
Shot a mountain lion.
Good.
Was tracking it and then called it and got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when it was a younger male, but a nice, probably 120-pound cat or so, 130 pounds, something like that.
You get over 100-pound cat, that's a good size cat here. Stations 65700 on mark. But yeah, you get over 100 pounds, I don't care what you say. That's a pretty decent cat.
Yeah, I was talking to a gentleman that hunts a lot of cats here in North Dakota, and he said the same thing. He said there's nothing, nothing wrong with that at all.
Nope.
He said a lot of cats that are shot are like that because they're the young males that are out.
Yep.
Moving around.
That's no different than any other big animal. I mean, the older ones get smart for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they get bigger for a reason too.
Yep.
Yeah, no, good for her. She'll enjoy that. If she ever needs to crash up in this area, let me know. Our place has a keypad on it, so we
oh, cool.
let people, friends and family, if they need a place to stay here or they want to not spend $400 on a hotel room during peak season, let us know.
She start a bed and breakfast out there.
Negative. No, negative on that.
Negative Ghost Rider.
No, not gonna. No bed and breakfast for this guy. One, I never eat breakfast, and could you imagine sitting there and feeding people? I give.
You can just do what do they call RBO, whatever. You just open it up where you charge them like people are making like bank on that stuff. My wife and I actually talked about building the place. You could pay for it.
You can, but you do have to. What's hard about things down here in the hills is finding somebody to clean it for you.
Yep.
And trustworthy. So that's the original reason when we purchased this place, we actually purchased it with the intention of doing that. Mm-hmm. And then, we looked at, well, let's get signed up for this. We're like, first thing and foremost, who are going to get cleaning it? And a lady friend of mine that's down here that has a ton of them, and she owns Hitchcock in Deadwood. She owns a lot of businesses. She's a entrepreneur like crazy. She says, if you're not living there in the area so you can check on your stuff, she said she has had so many bad situations where these so-called maids will take the stuff and take it home. They'll steal the toilet paper. They'll steal this. They'll steal that. She said it doesn't seem like much until after a year and you're losing quite a bit of your profits. So,
yeah, okay. So you got a place down in the hills?
Yeah, down in Lead.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Or maybe I did and I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
You got any turkeys down
there? From where I look right here on Main Street, Lead, you can see a lot of wildlife. The mule deer are crazy thick around here. Like you walk down the street and they're literally walking next to you. That's how.
Is there much snow down there?
In the hills, there's a little bit here, but that's just because it's a lot of trees.
Yeah.
7 o'clock straight up station. 7 o'clock straight up. So 6 minutes to show time, John.
What do we got for topics this morning? Anything
topics?
Special?
Well, we got a whole new hunting season to look forward to.
Yeah.
Talk turkey a little bit here, as that season's going to come around quicker than the guy realizes. Last year was a little tough with about 40 feet of snow. And those storms.
Yeah. Yeah, it made for a short season.
Yeah. Oh, we'll talk that. Maybe some legislation stuff. Some people came up to me at a bull sale. I was ringing a bull sale. They said, "How come you're not up at the Capitol fighting to for the banning on bait?" And I said, "Here's the thing. So the Game and Fish right now is the second most powerful lobbying organization in the state. Okay, no, not saying that's a bad thing all the time. Just saying that they're at the Capitol every day, and it's a little harder for some of us to drive 3 hours and feed cows really quick, go up there, sit there all day, and then come back and get chores done again, So it's a little bit more difficult, but it is hard to do that. Now, one guy came up to me and he said, I went to Jeb and asked him about explain the difference, how you say EHD is natural caused and CWD isn't. Explain that. And I guess Jeb got up and walked away.
Huh.
So I wasn't there. That was just what I was told. And I do agree. How is CWD any different than EHD?
Yeah, it's
besides it doesn't kill hardly anything.
Yeah, and it's getting kind of heated. And I'd like to bring up the topic about, because I'm going to ask you about some of the organizations you belong to and what kind of rights you have with being in that organization. Because one of the things I've been disappointed in is some of our local organizations that I may be a part of, I have no voice in, and they're making decisions for me and speaking for me without sending out. It takes 10 minutes. I can put a survey together and I can send it to your whole email list, whatever you want. And none of these groups are doing that. And I'm just curious about maybe some of these other ones that you may belong to, if you have any say in what they support or what they're doing, because it seems like a lot of these were not.
Well, I'll wait to answer that until we get on the air, because a lot of people are. There's a reason. So, yeah, we'll do that, because I'll explain it when we get into it.
Nope, that sounds good. And
yeah,
we can bring up some of the absolute rudeness that some of these people are bringing to the table.
Really,
and they're representing these organizations. And again, everybody's got their opinion, but it's how you state it.
Yep. Yeah, I agree, man. There's, and the thing is, so yeah, and I had the same thing even on non-wildlife organizations. I mean, I'm getting hit from all kinds of sides on a whole bunch of other topics that are coming up on the egg side of things.
Yeah.
And I have no problem. People have my number. I don't hide it. They can call me. We can discuss this. That's fine. It's but man, if a guy wanted to be part of every organization, there'd be a lot of money out of my pocket going to that stuff.
No, I hear you. And the thing is, like, you're no different than me, Scott, is that you put your name behind everything you say. There's no handle. There's no hiding behind a false name so that you can say something, And
that's exactly
I struggle
right.
with that. I struggle with that. It's almost to the point where I don't want to respond to anybody, good or bad, if they don't put their name behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's just like when I gave that speech to the Forest Service last year. It was the year before last. I can't remember. Anyway, they had their national convention for the Forest Service in Medora, and I was asked to be one of the keynote speakers. And my whole thing was on communication. I said, Forest Service, you guys do some things that I think are silly, right? I said, but on the egg side of things, we might do things that are silly too. So we got to sit at the same table because we're in for the same thing. All it takes is just talking about it. And I gave a whole bunch of stories about how communication was, how it worked. And it was actual stories with the Forest Service when I was on the board of directors on the Grazing Association. And I got a standing ovation at the end of that thing, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And 7:05:00 mark stations, 60 seconds of showtime. Anyway, so that's what I did there. And after I was done, there's just a ton of people, especially from the western states, that came up to me and they're like, man, they wanted me to come out to Oregon and talk. And I said, I'm not going to go there. I said, you got people out there that'll make a lot more difference in your local area. I said, I was asked to be here because I live literally 40 miles south here. So, but they also wanted me to touch on the hunting side of things on it too. And I did, some concerns, some goods and bads. But anyway, 30 seconds, John. We're going to go quiet here until we start. Stand by. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. I'm your host, Scott Bachmeyer, reporting from the Black Hills of South Dakota down at the Black Hills Stock Show all day today. So if you're in the area listening across the Dakota Territory, all the way from KGFX in Pierce, South Dakota, KOLY in Mobridge, K-Fire 550 Bismarck, Mandan, KCJB in Minot, KLTC in Dickinson. If you're around the listening area, 6 states, 2 Canadian provinces, and you're hearing this, see if you can find me at the Black Hills Stock Show today. Would like to meet you and shake your hand, and even if we have discussions that we need to talk about, let's hammer that out. That's not a problem. Welcome to Dakota Prairie Outdoors. John Arman is my guest. John, nearly 2 decades I've been doing this show.
That's amazing.
2 decades.
I've been right there with you.
You have from day one, man. I met you at the grocery store and introduced myself the first time when I saw your pickup.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. 2 decades. I know that's what we're. I'm hitting 20 years next year. The show will be on.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's amazing how fast it's going.
Yeah. Mark Schriefer just sent a text message to me. By the way, congratulations, Mark, Riley, and Jody and Cheyenne. Great bull sale up at their place last weekend. I did my program up there. Now I'm in the Black Hills here. And boy, I tell you what, bull sale season, John. I mean, it's you want to talk about outdoors. You want to talk about going to bull sales. Some of the best food you'll eat besides branding meals. And I always tell people, if you can't find a bull to buy, you're probably not looking hard enough, because there is bull sales all over the place. So next week I'll be in Mandan, North Dakota, at the Badlands chapter of the Mule Deer Foundation. I'll be the MC and the auctioneer up in Mandan. So I don't know if you're up in that area, John. Swing by.
Yep, Wayne just actually texted me that. I forgot all about it. He asked me if I had my ticket. I got to look at my schedule. I'll probably buy a ticket no matter what, just to support the organization. And if I am able to make it there, I'd love to get over there to say hello. Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you this. They put on a good show over Mandan at the old Seven Seas. What is it, the Baymont now?
Yep.
It's hard for me to say Baymont, because it's just like once you know it as something. It's
always been the Seven Seas.
5 o'clock, the doors open. 6:30 for the meal, and then the auction is going to follow after that. So you could be one of my ringmen, John.
Oh, there you go. I'd have a blast doing it.
Yeah, you bet. Well, I'll tell you, we're looking at turkey season coming around the corner here pretty quick in April. And I know the most everything has gone to online side of things. Even South Dakota, I know the February 8th is, if you're a South Dakota resident, the online applications are open February 8th for elk archery tags. And on the North Dakota side, we have the turkey season coming around. That's online as well. I got mine filled out right away. I hope it went through, because when I put it in and hit submit, something happened to their website. I'm guessing everybody was doing it at the same time, right? But hopefully it got worked through. But anyway, it's pretty easy to check that nowadays on your phone or whatever. One of the techniques I think both North and South Dakota has done is made everything online. I'd like it, John. I know a lot of people were kind of upset right away when they couldn't go to their local hardware stores and get their tags, but you can still do that. They just do it online and help you through it. Yes,
I got to say, it's come in handy. You know, there's the only bad point is, like you said, if you happen to forget your tag, and you're from out of state or from another town, like if you want to get your bow tag, you can apply for it online, and then you can tell them to hold it at the Game and Fish, and then you can go pick it up. So if you're on your way through, because otherwise it's mailed to you and it takes, of course, a week to get.
Right.
Where in the past you could go into Shields and buy it over the counter. But like I said, if you plan ahead just a little bit, it works out in your favor. And then if you happen to be like, you need your goose tag right now, you can do it online, and you're legal right away with your document. And then you just have to make sure when it gets there in the mail to, get it on your license. But there's some definite pluses for it.
There's only one thing I wish the North side would change. I wish they would do like South Dakota, and you get your new licensing the first of the year.
Yes,
because in North Dakota, it's April 1st is when you apply for your license for that fall or that rest of the year. I wish they'd just do it. It's 2023. Just do it 2023.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it correlates to that. I just know that I need it for my turkey.
Yeah,
once fishing season starts and once turkey starts.
Right. Right. Well, when it comes to turkey, are you still going after them with archery? And it seems like here in the northern states, that's kind of the thing. You go down to the southern states, I mean, it's all shotgun down there for the most part.
It is. And I think that, like my buddy Randy Birdsong has said, that a turkey is just made to shoot in the face with a shotgun. And there's something to be said about it. So I love using my bow. But if I get some extra tags, if I hunt the reservation or go to South Dakota, I'll probably use a shotgun because I would like to do it where I could do a little bit more run and gun. Where with your bow, it's a little tougher to run and gun as far as getting set up. You almost need a blind. I've shot one without a blind, and it worked great. But it's not as easy to do when you can hunker next to a tree with your shotgun. So I think that depending on what you want, either way is a blast. When you can call them in and have them come strutting and gobbling in, it's about as exciting as it gets.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, I went with you a couple of times, and you got me hooked on turkey hunting. I was never a big fan of turkey hunting until you took me out a couple of times, and I'm telling you, it's when you hear that drum from a ways away, man, and you just hear that in that spring morning. The only thing that people have a hard time with is sometimes turkey hunting in our area in the northern plains is related to when the ticks come out. Yeah, and I don't have problems with ticks.
I don't either.
I don't really care about if they're on me or not. I mean, you just get them off, right? But some people they're like deathly scared of them or something.
Yeah, and there's some new products out that are really good that you can infuse your clothes with, or you can just spray on your boot pants, your cuffs, and it does a good job keeping the ticks out. But yeah, there's something about being out there in the springtime, and I always say I'm a morning person once I get up. And sometimes getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning to drive an hour is kind of not fun. But once, boy, you get out there and you smell everything and hear everything, those mornings, there's nothing better than mornings. I mean, mornings have to be the best time as far as being in the woods because everything comes alive. It's just it's a blast.
It is. And, there's nothing like seeing that sunrise, man. I like it. I think I think everybody that is in the agricultural side of things or in the hunting side of things, I think every once in a while they stop and they look at it and they see that sunrise and they're like just happy that they're right there at that moment. And you can only get that by getting outside and doing that. There's no doubt about that. But is there anything changed? I mean, are people on the turkey hunting side with archery? Has things changed over the years? I mean, we've been doing this almost 20 years now, John. Has anything changed really in technology? I mean, it doesn't seem like there's much different when it comes to archery when it goes after turkeys. Either you can have one of those guillotine ones or just center punch them right above the drumstick.
Yeah. Nothing really has. I said, the things that, everything's gotten better. The bows have gotten better, the broadheads, everything. One of the things a guy can do is you can scout for turkeys like you do deer. And trail cameras can come in and play a huge part because if you're a ways away, you can set up a trail camera, whether you use a cell camera or your regular camera, but you can get pictures of those birds in that area. Yep. And you can kind of figure out where you got to be at what time of day, because I'm a firm believer that turkeys kind of do a left or right pattern. They either go circle right or circle left, and they end up coming back mostly to the same places here in North Dakota because we don't have.
Hold that thought, John. The Chinese spy plane is telling us it's time for a break. We'll be back after this.
Cattle producers, the Wasam Red Angus annual production sale is Thursday, February 16th, 2 p.m. Mountain Time at the Wicks Barn, south of Richardson, North Dakota. Selling 60 bulls, including Sons of Quarterback, Franchise, Enterprise, and Went Yard. Also selling will be 70 open commercial heifers plus 10 registered bred heifers. For more information along with videos, go to wasamredangus.com. And you can always bid with confidence on sale day at DV Auction. For powerful, profitable, and practical cattle, I'll see you at the Wasam Red Angus sale Thursday, February 16th, 2 p.m. Mountain Time at the Wicks Barn, south of Richardson.
As an independent insurance agency, Dakota Community Insurance partners with leading insurance companies to offer products that are designed around you and your farm insurance needs. As a leader in farm and ranch insurance, we can help you to minimize the risk to you and your operation, including farm equipment, livestock, farm buildings, and crops. Stop into your local branch to visit with our insurance agent or visit DakotaCommunityBank.com. You can rely on us when nature strikes. Dakota Community Insurance.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
The Sorensen Ranch Production Sale is Monday, March 6th, 1 p.m. Central Time, Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. The Sorensen Ranch is your source for Simmental bulls that are bred for docility, longevity, fertility, and calves that'll push the scale down. Selling 42 Sim Angus bulls, 50 commercial heifers. If you would like more information, visit their website at sorensenranch.com or find them on Facebook. And you can bid online sale day at DV Auction. The Sorensen Ranch Production Sale, Monday, March 6th, 1 p.m. Central at Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Hello, producers. This is Travis for Smith Saddle Butte Ranch. I wanted to invite everyone to our President's Day Bull Sale on Monday, February 20th in Bowman. We will be selling 50 head this year. None of our bulls have been fed corn or creep, just cow's milk and grass. We don't need or want to mislead anyone about their true growth. Call me, Travis, at 605-641-5288 or check us out on Facebook. That's the Smith Saddle Butte Ranch Bull Sale, Monday, February 20th at 1 o'clock at the Bowman Auction Market, Bowman, North Dakota.
Piper's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Piper's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet. A family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition continuing here as I'm broadcasting from the Black Hills of South Dakota. I got to the Black Hills Stock Show as it's the last weekend for the stock show, and a lot of folks are going down the PRC rodeo here this evening. All good stuff. Hopefully you can have a little bit of fun. Now, also coming up, the KFYR Agra International, February 14th and 15th. I'll be broadcasting from the Bismarck Civic Center, or the Event Center as they call it now, as that goes on here, I believe, coming your way here in about a week and a half. So John Arman from Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV is my guest. John, welcome back. How you been?
Been good, buddy.
All right.
No complaints.
Ready for some questions?
Absolutely.
All right. Question was, the mayor says, is North Dakota still a resident-only state for turkey?
It is, except in the fall, which, again, I brought this up at our last advisory meeting. You know, how can we or why can't we get non-residents spring turkey tag? And they said it's all about the numbers and the allocation, because apparently there's more. I haven't paid that much attention, but I think there's more tags given out in the fall. So there's extras, so then non-residents can get them. In the springtime, the demand for the tags are more along the resident line, so they're taking care of the residents.
Which makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
Another question comes back. We were discussing, or I said, I wish North Dakota would go up to the like South Dakota in your new season, the new year, new season, right? And Matt texts back here on the YouTube channel. He says, North Dakota Game and Fish licensing year might go back to the day when the fishing season actually closed for a period of time during the spring, and a new fishing season started. That way a new license was needed. And he's like, a tradition, sometimes too hard to change that old tradition stuff. And that's true, isn't it? So, oh, I gotta see if this is an actual story I can read on the air about you. I got a guy by the name of Dave. Dave says, funny story about John Arman. He says, I was in Shields a while back. John walked through the doors with his signature black cowboy hat. There were a couple of teenage boys standing there. The one kid said, "Do you know who that is?" "Nope," said the other. They said, "That's Jim Shockey."
I have been called Jim Shockey Jr. a few times by some of my buddies down at the archery trade show and stuff. I have one buddy in particular always calls me Jim Shockey Jr.
Well, I guess I met Jim Shockey one time. I tried to interview him. Let me tell you this, John. If you ever act like that, like Jim Shockey, your and I friendship might be over. Okay.
Yeah, I've visited with him before, and he was actually, it was in him and Cody Robbins, and Jim was actually a pretty pleasant guy. We kind of were off where there wasn't a bunch of people at the archery trade show, and he was actually quite entertaining. He used to be a swimmer and had long hair like I did as a kid, and actually was like a swimsuit model. So he comes from a different background again, and I don't know if fame affects these people and they get hammered by so many people. Yeah. I don't know. I'm glad that I wouldn't want that. I really wouldn't. Is as cool as it may sound, but having people bug you all the time everywhere you go. But again, that's the life you choose. You have to be professional about it, and we've talked about that, and we're going to talk about it in some of our things coming up. When you represent an industry or represent a team or represent your family, whoever you represent, your character is something that I built who I am. Whether you like it or don't like it, it's something that I've built, and I take great pride in it. Yeah. And to have people badmouth you and say things that you have said or not said is a defamation of character. And there's actually a law against that. It's one thing talking a little bit of smack, but there's some people out there that get pretty heated over the internet. And nowadays, everybody's 10 foot tall and bulletproof.
Yeah. Especially keyboard warriors.
Oh, there's a lot of them. And with this legislation, with that baiting ban, I stepped in it. And honestly, I stepped in it because people asked me to help out some of the common people, or the people that don't have what you and I have as far as property and ability to put in food plots and all that. And they were saying, I'm going to lose, what we have. And when I started looking at it, I'm a teacher, so I look at the data. I wasn't seeing what the Game and Fish was saying. I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I'm saying is that it's hard to take away something if you don't have the data to back it up. So when I stepped into that ring, I got hammered by some organizations here in town.
Really?
Yes. And one in particular, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. I'm not going to mention the young man's name, but he's our president. And he's a passionate kid, and I give him all the credit in the world for being passionate. But when you start putting words in my mouth and going to national talk forums and making fun of me and saying things, I called him and I just said, hey, if you're going to continue to do this, you're going to talk to my lawyers. And he lost his cool, yelled at me and told me to bite me and hung up the phone on me.
Yeah.
And that's not how you represent an organization in North Dakota.
Or any state for that matter. Doesn't matter where you're from.
No, and again, you can be passionate. The problem with our world today, like you said in your conversation on YouTube, is it's all about having a conversation. Yeah. Whether you're working with the National Forest, the Grazing Association, the ranchers, whoever, there's two sides to every story, and everybody has their own opinion on things, and it's how you state your opinion, whether you look like an idiot or not. And today, some of our groups are, even our North Dakota Bow Hunters Association, I saw where some of the guys that represent them were saying things online that, I mean, it just makes everybody look bad.
Yeah. So let's talk about organizations. You were going to pose a question to me, and I said, well, waiting for my answer until we get on air.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay, so with organizations, so I belong to, whether it's Mule Deer Foundation, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, whatever, the farming and ranching ones you belong to, do you have a say in what they are saying? So, like, for example, when North Dakota Bow Hunters Association got on board on this baiting ban, they spoke for, they say, 1,500 people, but there was no survey sent out or nothing was sent out. Backcountry hunters and anglers, same thing. Even though they spoke what the national one said, but there was never a survey or any information sent out to their constituents that they are representing or are part of that organization. And I struggle with that because nowadays it's pretty easy to send out a survey. It takes about 10 minutes and you can send one out. So the organizations you belong to, whether it be the Rural Water, Rural Electric Cooperative or whatever, what do you see with the organizations there when they go represent you?
So I'm coming at it in a different way, John. All right. So remember back when we had a certain thing called Measure 5 that came through?
Yeah.
And this was a real big thing, not only for landowner private property rights, hunting, brandings. I mean, it would have affected a lot of things when these, I would say, not too friendly organizations move into the areas, right?
Yes.
I was a member of a lot of organizations back then. And that one bill, and then the Clean Water, Wildlife, and Parks one. And, I am no longer a member. I think I belong to two groups right now. Well, besides our electrical, okay? All right. I'm on the Broadband Association. I'm on, I'm a co-op member for the electrical. I mean, that's just part of what you do, right? When you live in the rural areas. But the only one I'm actually a member of is the Stockmen's Association.
Mm-hmm.
And I get hammered for being a member of that one. And so here's the thing. I will support these organizations if they call me up and they say, we want to do a project and it's like a really, really good project and stuff. But I have a hard time being a member of something when they go, like you just said, against what I personally feel. They're not speaking for me, so I'll speak for myself. And it was very hard for me to be a member of any of those. So maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way, and people can chime in here if they want to text me or get on YouTube here and do that. I'll have more. I'd love to talk with you. In fact, I had somebody call me the other day saying that I drink the Kool-Aid, right? I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm like, please explain. We had about an hour conversation, and at the end of that hour, John, we saw eye to eye on many, many things. I said,
right.
Just because I'm not a member of every group doesn't mean that I'm not supporting this, okay? And I will support certain things, but go ahead, 10 seconds before our next break.
No, I'm saying, and I'm the same way. And these organizations, the Bow Hunter Association, Backcountry, they may do some really great things for our community, but I think some of these should be set on the fence line because you're affecting one side or the other, and that you have two sides of everything.
Absolutely. We'll be back right after these messages talking more. Same issue.
Cattle producers, the Wassum Red Angus annual production sale is Thursday, February 16th, 2 p.m. Mountain Time at the Wicks Barn south of Richardson, North Dakota. Selling 60 bulls, including Sons of Quarterback, Franchise, Enterprise, and Went Yard. Also selling will be 70 open commercial heifers plus 10 registered bred heifers. For more information along with videos, go to wassumredangus.com. And you can always bid with confidence on sale day at DV Auction. For powerful, profitable, and practical cattle, I'll see you at the Wassum Red Angus sale Thursday, February 16th, 2 p.m. Mountain Time at the Wicks Barn south of Richardson.
As an independent insurance agency, Dakota Community Insurance partners with leading insurance companies to offer products that are designed around you and your farm insurance needs. As a leader in farm and ranch insurance, we can help you to minimize the risk to you and your operation, including farm equipment, livestock, farm buildings, and crops. Stop into your local branch to visit with our insurance agent or visit DakotaCommunityBank.com. You can rely on us when nature strikes. Dakota Community Insurance.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
The Sorensen Ranch Production Sale is Monday, March 6th, 1 p.m. Central Time, Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. The Sorensen Ranch is your source for Simmental bulls that are bred for docility, longevity, fertility, and calves that'll push the scale down. Selling 42 Sim Angus bulls, 50 commercial heifers. If you'd like more information, visit their website at sorensenranch.com or find them on Facebook. And you can bid online sale day at DV Auction. The Sorensen Ranch Production Sale, Monday, March 6th, 1 p.m. Central at Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Hello, producers. This is Travis for Smith Saddle Butte Ranch. I wanted to invite everyone to our President's Day Bull Sale on Monday, February 20th in Bowman. We will be selling 50 head this year. None of our bulls have been fed corn or creep, just cow's milk and grass. We don't need or want to mislead anyone about their true growth. Call me, Travis, at 605-641-5288 or check us out on Facebook. That's the Smith Saddle Butte Ranch Bull Sale, Monday, February 20th at 1 o'clock at the Bowman Auction Market, Bowman, North Dakota.
Piper's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Piper's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Just Coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto. You can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. I'm Scott Bachmeyer, broadcasting from the Black Hills of South Dakota at the Stock Show this weekend. If you are around the event center in Rapid City, make sure to try to find me. I'm going to be doing a lot of interviews, talking to a lot of folks, and you'll be hearing those stories coming up next week here. John Arman is my guest. John, welcome back here on the show. We got a lot of activity going on during that break after we were discussing being members of groups or not. So are you ready for this?
Yes.
All right. So I had one guy text me in, or Jamie says the Bow Hunter Association VP says you have very little hunting skill if you have to bait. He says Clay and him went over that on their Guns in the 701. They went over that testimony on their show from Wednesday. So if people want to go back and check that out, they sure can. So is it true? Do people have less skill if they're baiting?
Here's the deal with that. I had a gentleman ask me about, because we got in a little bit of it wasn't an argument. We're just talking, texting, and he asked me if I was a big fan of Uncle Ted because people were jumping on that bandwagon. I said, Ted Nugent is, I love listening to him because he's a very intelligent guy and no one's ever beat him in a debate. Am I a huge fan of his? I'm no different than any other guy. I mean, I think he does a good job representing us. Sometimes he speaks too much, but then the guy goes, "Well, what do you think about fair chase?" Making it sound like it's not fair chase. And I said to this gentleman, I said, "You've killed bears over bait, and so have I." I said, "The quickest way to wreck hunting in our world today is start talking ethics. Because you tell me, is it ethical to shoot? Is it ethical to shoot an animal at 800 yards with your rifle? Is it ethical to shoot one with your bow at 100 yards? Is it ethical to shoot one quartering away? Is it ethical?" I said, these are all your own ethics, are your own personal opinion on how you want to hunt. So I have nothing. Do I want to shoot a deer with his head in a bucket of corn? Absolutely not. That's just am I going to get mad at somebody? No, because I have used corn to help handicap people, to help my daughter shoot her first deer. I've shot deer. I just shot one on Mexico on a sendero bow hunting, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. And it's like, and if you don't agree with me, that's fine, but you don't have to badmouth me. And that's like when I go back to the organizations, North Dakota Bow Hunters Association, Backcountry Hunters and Angles, great organizations. You can belong to them if you want to. I still am. I'm a lifelong member of NDBA. I'm not going to bow out or quit just because I don't agree with them, because I'm not on the cancel culture. I'm going to stay there and voice my opinion about things and maybe get some things changed if we can. But they all do good things, but it's how you say them, whether you look like a fool or not. And some of these organizations, I think, sometimes speak up too much, put their foot in their mouth when they represent both sides. Sometimes it's just better to stay neutral. And again, with this baiting thing, I think I've said that. I stood up for it because I believe in certain parts of it. For the handicap taken away from the common person, there's no data. But again, I also put out the Game and Fish's information. I understand that CWD is an issue and that it's on the landscape. I don't disagree with the science. I do disagree with the science that there is no science that says baiting spreads it more than natural congregation. And if we're killing 10,000 deer with our bows, and even half of those are with bait, that's killing 5,000 deer. That's doing the number one job you can do to keep CWD down, and that's population control. So, sometimes we lose the common sense thing. Am I bad mouthing the game fish? Absolutely not. I think they do a great job in some areas.
Well,
some areas I disagree with.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about having communication. Just like I'm texting one of my buddies here too. He's asking who was coming at me about this stuff, and I'm like, it just happened here the other day, right? So I mean, I said communication is the key on everything that we need to do. Not yelling back and forth, not bad mouthing, just communication. But you have to remember, you and I are in a situation here. This summer, I posted a picture on Facebook saying there was a guy parked on the wrong side of the road, and I was hauling hay. And all I posted was a picture of him saying, "Well, this is going to be fun hauling hay today," right? And I mean, I had some people just go bonkers on me saying that I'm anti-hunting, I'm a hypocrite because I do a hunting show, but you don't like hunters, and I'm like, I never once mentioned hunting or anything, and they're taking it to a whole new level.
Well, and that's the problem. Like I said, when I was called out by that young man, if you talk to me, and I even gave him my phone number, sent him my phone number multiple times, but he would not call me, just wanted to argue with me. And it's like, I don't want to argue with people. I want to have a nice common, where we give information back and forth, because I don't know everything. And you may tell me something that I don't know. And that's how decisions are made. In this world, is being educated. Educated decisions are made through both sides of information.
Yeah. All right. So let's look at some of this. One of the things that's I hate to always say the North Dakota side, but because I think South Dakota, they go through things a little bit differently. I'm sure they have their own issues, but as so we need to look at that. One of the things that's up is a House bill, and this can go through any state, and you can chime in here and text me 701-425-6651. They want to make it that the state land, you cannot post it. Okay. So the current situation is if Scott Bachmeyer is at the auction, and man, as that price went up on state land, holy cow. And I buy the right to use that for this year, right? and I pay X amount of dollars for it, I can also request it to be posted, which means Scott Bachmeyer can't hunt on it either.
Correct.
Okay. I have no problem with that. The problem I'm having is my winter pasture. I have state land in that pasture, and that's a huge area that they like to graze. They love going up to that little flat area and grazing on that little half section of state land, and people are in there hunting around my cows. So I posted it. I had it posted. That means I can't hunt it either. Right? Not a problem. I just want to keep my cows safe. And man, oh man, people are just upset about that, John. I mean, am I looking at this wrong? I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, I'm paying for it. Nobody else is paying for this land. I'm paying for it.
Right. And I think if I'm correct on this, is that the reason we have state land, school land, that's school land, most of it.
Correct.
And it's to generate money for the school district. So without you leasing it, that's a big part of these school districts with the money and stuff. I understand the public. I don't think public land should be landlocked in some of these other states. I mean, there's millions of acres that are taken away from people. I understand that argument. I don't think it's unfair because I don't think that I think it'd be real easy to do a quick study on this. You know, if they were going to say table this or do whatever and look at it, how many parcels of land are actually posted during the hunting season to keep people out? Because I would think it's very, very little that are posted, because a lot of times most guys have their cattle out of the pastures come, you know, I think it would be most of the time during rifle season, because it would scare me too if I had cattle out there, because I don't know the people hunting. It's one thing if I come and ask you for permission,
right?
And
absolutely.
you know me what kind of hunter I am, and you know who's in there. But if there's people going through there at all times, anytime, and all of a sudden you got 3 dead cows out there, and it may have been an accident, then who's going to pay for them?
Right.
So I understand that, but I think there could be a study done or something real quick to find out. I think there's very limited land that's probably posted. And yes, there's ranchers or landowners that are going to post the land illegally. And that's going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
Because there's people on both sides that aren't very smart.
All right. So we got a lot of messages, people. This is a great topic. I wish I was at my home studio and be able to take calls on this here. Eric from South Dakota says people just need to be respectful when hunting with cows in it. And I would say that for the most part, I would think they would be. Right. I don't think there's anybody that really goes out and says, you know what, I want to shoot somebody's cow today.
Right.
You know, nobody at least I hope that isn't the situation. Here another text comes in. It says, baiting falls under the umbrella of property rights. We don't want to lose it. Agreed. What I do on my private property should have no bearing on anybody else at all. Unless I'm like not taking care of my weeds and they're spreading over to the neighbors, but if I'm throwing out some mineral or some lick blocks or anything for deer, what's it to them, right? And
and I think that to answer that guy's question is like, okay, I'm a property owner and I believe in property rights too, to the nth degree. One of the things that we have to be careful with is that because it's no different being a rancher. If you have a TB outbreak or whatever,
right.
There's got to be some control on some of that stuff, because you don't want, your outbreak to go to the neighbor's outbreak, that kind of thing. So the property rights and baiting, like I said, if you were able to show that there was an outbreak, if there was an outbreak of TB, then the state veterinarian, not the game and fish, someone that has a little bit more background or whatever in disease control or whatever, may come in and say, okay, and they do that. If you had it on your place, they would come in and there would be a quarantine, wouldn't there?
Yeah, you're going about. I'm going to go at it. Also, a different little twist on it here, John, is
okay.
When you're talking cattle, I mean, you're looking at something that's fenced in.
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, the wildlife is supposed to not be the landowners.
Right. No, you're right. And that's what I'm saying too, is that it's public, but what you do on your own place does affect other people when it comes to wildlife.
Absolutely it does.
Right.
For the good and bad. Yeah.
Right. For the good and bad. Yeah. So I just think that I'm not against that, but I said there's got to be a fail safe on some of that stuff, because again, most people use common sense. And and I've said this, if I saw that CWD did what EHD did,
right,
and I found 35 dead deer from CWD on my property, I would be out there picking up every kernel of corn that ever fell off the combine if that was what was going to happen. But it's not happening. So that's why these people are fighting it so hard, is they're not seeing it. And they've done it for 20 years in Wisconsin. Wisconsin still has the highest population they've ever had. They do have a high population of CWD deer, but it seems like deer are able to keep ahead of it naturally.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. And I'm, again, not a biologist. I don't know if the sky is going to fall in 20 years, but it's been 60 years and it hasn't fallen.
So the text message comes in. I want to get through these so we don't run out of time,
Okay.
John, okay? It
You
says,
bet.
my understanding with the North Dakota Bowmen is that they are not against baiting. They do have a problem, as I do, that once the legislator gets the taste of regulating the game and fish, I'm worried I'm worried where it will end. I've seen it happen in Montana, Oregon, Washington, and that's a tough one for me to do this. Okay, so there's got to be some checks and balances on that state organization. I believe South Dakota does an advisory board. I have to look into it a little. They do it a little different in South Dakota. And again, I hate to keep picking on it. I think we need to look at some of these other ways of doing it, of being able to control that. What's your take on? Do you think the legislature should or shouldn't be able to do that?
Here's the deal. The legislature has, like I said, I was just listening to a podcast we did with Casey from the Game and Fish, and the legislature made laws, on non-resident waterfowl. The legislature is part of the Game and Fish and how we control things. The century codes, things are written in our century codes that deal with hunting, gratis tags, different things like that. The legislature does do things on. So when people say they don't want to give them the power, they already have the power. If the legislature wanted to push through things and vote on things, they could do those things.
Yep.
Already. So I understand what they're worried about. But again, it's that common sense things. And I'm a big proponent of having a board of some kind. I don't know, where you have ranchers, you have sportsmen, you have industry, energy people, everybody on there from what North Dakota is all about, to make some of these, I'm not going to say make the decisions, but talk about some of these things. Where they have, and the Game and Fish listens to someone, because I've been to a lot of advisory boards, and someone, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard a lot of things thrown out there. I've never seen many things change.
Nothing.
Even simple things change. So I'm not saying that they haven't, and if they have, I apologize. I just don't know of them. But there's some pretty simple ones that have been put out there, and if they have changed them, I don't know. Maybe they haven't let people know they've changed them because of people's opinions.
My favorite is, that's something we'll look into that. How often does an area big buck come into the bait pile and shooting lake? Very rarely in my 13 years of bow hunting. So, that's a good point. Coming up, back to the state land, whether it's posted or not, Eric out of South Dakota says it should be common sense, and the state should have a clause on the hunting books that says something about livestock being on it, and then you can't hunt on it
without permission, at least.
Exactly. Exactly.
Again,
Wayne says, as far as fair chase, which was established by Boone and Crockett and it actually copyrighted, as long as it is legal, it can be entered into the record books. Thus, the ethics is still a personal preference. So I agree with that. So there's a lot of people that say, well, high fence hunting, they should not be allowed to put that into the record books. It's easy. I think it's easy. Why just have a separate record book for high fence hunting?
Right. And
why not?
I've got friends that have done high fence hunting. Okay. And I can say that when I went to Africa, I did not know it was a high fence. I mean, it was a huge thing, and it was high fence, but animals could still get through. Did it make me feel a little bit weird about it? Yes, it did. Just because.
But in some places, John, that's how they do it to make enough money to support that habitat.
And I understand that, and I've said that. I tell people this: if I had a button that I could pop up on my ranch, boom, on my brothers and I ranch, that would pop up and it would keep all the deer in, it wouldn't allow me to kill that deer with my bow any faster.
No.
I just know that he's not leaving my place.
Right.
Again, do I believe in that? No, but I'm just saying is that we have this of high fence. And again, I'm not a proponent for it. I'm not against it. If people want to do it, just don't put the deer in the wall and say, I shot this, big buck. I was hunting them hard. It's shot at a 10-acre pen, and you want to pat yourself on the back. Go ahead. I'm not gonna. But if you shot them on a 100,000-acre fenced in place, that's a little different. And again, it's all about your personal beliefs. It's not ethics, it's personal belief.
Yeah. You're kind of breaking up on me a little bit here, John. So
sorry, buddy.
I'm not sure if you're getting you're doing jumping jacks and you're getting all irate here or not. I'm not sure what's going on.
I have not moved. I'm sitting in the same spot. I apologize.
All right. We got the gist of whatever you come through here. So only a couple minutes left here. On the positive side of things, I mean, we can talk legislative issues all the time. On the positive side, we're getting into a new hunting season, new fishing season, right? I mean, here we go.
Yep, and I actually got some. So Levi Nelson and I will be teaching hunter safety in Flasher, North Dakota, and there's like seven spots still open. And it's going to be in February. I think 4 days in February, 1 in March. We're doing them a little bit longer, like every Sunday from like 2 to 5:30, so that it's not as many, but they'll be a little bit more intense to get kids through that. So there's 7 spots open. So go online and find that if you want your child to get into hunter safety. And I've got our bow camp coming up again this summer. I'm raised at full draw if anybody's interested in that. I'm trying to get everybody ready for the new hunting season. We got turkeys coming. Man, I got turkeys in my backyard to get me excited every day. They're already starting to gobble, the young jakes. They're not sure what's going on with all the snow, but I'm excited about this season like always.
It's just nice. It's a new start. Hopefully this April isn't like last April, John, where we had those calf-killing snowstorms come through. But you never know. I mean, the moisture was, and just got a text says, "Hey, thanks for doing it in the Flasher area." So I think
I'm excited about it.
I think hunter safety should be in the schools, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, whatever. I can't remember. We shut our little country school down, and the sheriff, Ron Eli, came in and he taught the class. And the whole school took it. Granted, there wasn't a lot of kids in a little country school, I said, but I think it's something everybody should take. Now, it's not just because of hunting. I mean, it's game recognition, safety. If you do, I mean, I just really wish they would do it more often.
I really wish it would. And I know there's some schools. I think there might even be one of the Catholic schools in town doing it. And I know some of the small towns, they've got some great things going on with that kind of stuff. So that's nice to see.
And I feel that the instructors should get paid.
Well, and I do too. I think that, and we've talked about it. I think it's at the point where volunteers, get burnt out and they have money. I don't think people would complain if a few dollars went to giving these guys a little bit of compensation, at least paying for their gas or doing something if they're driving and doing things.
That's a good thing. John, thanks so much for always taking time coming on the radio all across the Dakota Territory, 6 states, 2 Canadian provinces. Have yourself a good one.
All right, man. You too. Thank you.
Yeah, that's John Arman, Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV. I'm Scott Bachmeyer, Black Hill Stock Show. If you see me, come up and talk with me. Have yourself a good weekend. Eat some meat, drink some milk. All right, stations, thank you. John, man, we could just do like another hour just of legislative stuff.
That was a good one. And like I said, it's I like when people, have their, and again, that's why I said, have their opinions. Everybody has an opinion, and I'm all for it. The conversations need to be had, and you can get passionate about things, but don't call me names because I don't believe that anything is solved by getting irate and belittling people online. And that seems like what everybody does right now. And it's like the Game and Fish. I've never said anything ever negative about the Game and Fish. Like I said, I've said it's a love-hate relationship at times. I appreciate what they do. I think that some of the guys are like Casey, I think is just a stand-up guy. He's new, and I really appreciate his conversations and stuff like that. Jeb, I've talked to Jeb, and like I said, you got to have those conversations. And if you don't have those conversations, nothing is solved. And again, both sides have to listen to each other and take into consider their side too. And we don't. We just get hung up on stuff, and then we cancel each other. We get pissed at each other, and this younger generation, no offense, man, but it's like all about canceling, yelling, screaming. But there's just, like I said,
They want to be heard, but they don't want you to be heard. So I'm going to go through some of these messages here on YouTube. It's Whalen says, nice job, John. Gene Cox says the China balloon is probably honoring the CWD and their baiting stations. Eric down in South Dakota here, he says, I agree with hunter safety. He says, along with gun education, that should be taught to everybody. Levi Nelson, we should bring it up to make the moose, elk, and sheep tags $30 non-refundable and give $20 to hunter safety. That'd be nice. And Waylon says, Cash took hunter safety, and I was testing him. When we went youth hunting, he was telling me what I was doing wrong and why. Should be in all the schools here. So and I got people calling in here. I'm still not. You got to give me a little bit of time. So the sheriff over in Morton County is still trying to get in touch with me here. So yeah,
too funny.
But yeah, I tell you what, John, you know that if I could, and I have a hard time. You know, I got Daryl Lee. How come you're not a member of the North Dakota Farm Bureau? And he says, well, while I agree with 90% of what you guys do, I really do. I said, here's the problem with me being members. If I join the Farm Bureau, then it's going to look like, well, since I'm a member of the Farm Bureau, that's why you're not doing anything for the North Dakota Farmers Union. All right, so I guess I got to be a member of the North Dakota Farmers Union.
No, you go broke. You go broke doing it, and then there'd be an argument because everybody's got their own agenda.
So my whole thing is, I'm not, I'm just not going to be a member of a whole lot of things, but I will give you an outlet if you want to have a conversation and put it on the radio. I'll be more than happy to do that for you. But you also have to be able to take questions and be able to explain it too. I mean, if there's something that I don't agree with, I'll bring it up and hopefully you can answer it, so.
Yeah. And like I said, it's one of those deals that I don't think that I'm right, all the time. I mean, pretty close, but not all the time. If I'm wrong, I will say I'm wrong. I have no problems eating crow and saying, I apologize. I had my facts wrong, or I was wrong in that. And it seems like people are just not able to do that anymore. And I think about that young man talking to me that way. Can you imagine talking to Lee Sellen or my dad or your dad the way that kid did? What would have happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would never talk to anybody that way that's older than me, let alone someone my own age.
Right.
Or
even somebody younger. That's not the way to go about things.
No, it isn't. And again, if you want to have a conversation with someone, and if this kid wants to tell his buddies that I'm a jackwagon, that's fine. That's one thing. But doing it on a public forum, and trying to belittle me and make fun of me, and again, I've just learned that you kill them with kindness, or just say, hey, I'm not going to get into this kind of argument or whatever. And there's most people will apologize to you and say, because when I told the guy that was saying that I was wrong, and I said, apparently my opinion doesn't matter anymore. And he's like, man, that's not what I wanted. He goes, I'm sorry. Most people have common sense, but some people just lose their marbles on this stuff. And, they just can't handle being wrong or someone else's opinion. And it's just kind of scary.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoy it. I enjoy confrontation.
Well, and I here's the deal is I do too. But like I said, I mean, what I was like growing up, Scott. It's like, my confrontation got to the point where
you keep
pushing my buttons.
Absolutely.
You keep pushing my buttons. Well, I can't do that anymore. I'm 60 years old. And like one guy said, well, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, here's the deal. You're either going to get your hand handed to you by an old man, or you're going to beat up an old man. I said, either way, you're going to look pretty crappy about it. And I said, I can't do it anymore. It's like, I got too much to lose. And again, I have more respect for myself than getting in an argument with someone online. And I will always protect myself. I will never say anything, but guys will say, you don't do anything for anybody. You don't hunt. You don't let anybody hunt your place. These guys have no idea what I've done or anything. It's like, do I need to roll out my resume of all the people I've taken hunting and all the kids I've started hunting and all the vets I've taken out? That's not what it's about. But it seems like if you don't have your resume there, these guys think that you don't do anything. Once you're a private landowner, you're just a selfish bastard that doesn't let anybody hunt. And it gets old, because I think that, like yourself, I have done as much or more than anybody in North Dakota to help promote our outdoors.
But not okay. I agree. So, like this guy that called me a hypocrite. Like, oh, you're supposed to be out there promoting outdoors. You tell people to get out and hunt, but you don't like hunters. Okay, well, first off, that's not what that post. I had nothing about hunting. But you're right. We're out there promoting. We're out there helping way more than they are. All right.
Yes.
And but I want to promote the right way.
Absolutely.
By sitting on a road on the wrong side of the damn thing when everybody's trying to haul hay with semis is not what I'm promoting. Not one damn bit am I promoting that.
Yeah.
So that's bullshit.
And here's the way, if that would have been me sitting on the side of the road, because I have occasionally pulled off, I get excited, I pull off because I look in my rear view mirrors and don't see anybody, and all of a sudden someone's coming up on me. If I'd have seen that you post that, I'd have gone on there and said, Scott, that was me, and I apologize. I got excited. I saw a mule deer. I will be more conscientious of doing that because it's dangerous for both of us. Yeah. But people just lose their mind on stuff like that.
Well, and not only that, the picture clearly showed that 20 yards in front of them was an approach.
Yep.
Yep. Matt says, I've taught hunter education for nearly 25 years. There should be a mandatory refresher course around the age of 21. It's not the 12-year-olds that have issues. It's often the adults that have issues. And isn't that the truth?
It is. And I think also I've been a part, and I'm going to say this, I've been a part of some of these courses where the instructors need to be a refresher course. Because I was at one, and I kid you not, the number one rule is muzzle. Where's your muzzle at? Yep. That guy pointed his gun at me at least 15 times during class. And it's like, it's just unacceptable. And that's when I called the Game and Fish, and I figured I can't bitch about it unless I'm part of it. So that's when I signed up to help do it, because, I know that they don't have enough people doing it,
Yeah, they've asked me to try to do it, and I'm like, I just
you got enough irons in the fire, buddy.
Yeah, I'll support. I said I'll support it. I said I'll give you money. I'll pay people to go in and do it for you. I said I have no problem with that. I said I'll donate locally to have 3 classes a year, because they'd be filled up. I mean, people complain, well, it gets filled up. You only allow 15 or 20 people. It gets filled up so quick, we have to wait. Or we have to go somewhere else, or we got to travel here, or we got to travel there. And I agree with that. I think there should be 3 or 4 every year in the small areas, because that's how you're going to get it done.
Oh, and again, why not pay a guy $50,000 a year to be a full-time instructor?
Why doesn't the
that's your job?
Why don't the game wardens host it? Why? Well, and I don't understand that.
To him. I said that I think it's like being a school teacher. I said, every year we have like 8 events after school, like from 5 to 7 o'clock or whatever. We are just not, it's not mandatory, but it's just highly suggested that you sign up for at least 3 of those. Everybody's got to sign up for 3 of them.
Right.
Because that's your community. And I think I had brought that up to Casey. I said, what about everybody that is in the Game and Fish should have to teach that class a couple times, or do something. He goes, that's a good idea. He said, and Casey, I know, has been an instructor for I don't know how many years. And like I said, so I think that the wardens and everybody, like I said, you have to sign up as a volunteer to do it a couple times a year. What's wrong with that? Because you're part of that organization. No different than being a school teacher,
Yep, absolutely. Or at least once a year. I think it's important for the kids to meet the game warden.
Oh, yeah.
It's important for adults to meet the game warden, right? I mean, the right way, not illegally. Yeah. I mean, seriously. I mean, we're looking at getting a new game warden in our area right now because the other one's retiring.
Mm-hmm.
That game warden should be going out and introducing himself to all the landowners.
Yeah, you remember the old days? I remember Matt Earhart. Matt Earhart was a highway patrolman, and he was at the brandings and everything. He knew every rancher out in his area.
Yep.
Because that was his community, and he went out to support his community and make that relationship, because that's what you need.
Yep. That's
when people work for you, and they will report, illegal things or whatever if they believe in you that you're actually helping community,
Yeah. And I think there's still some of those out there, but I seen kind of a change in the game warden side of, like, you're not supposed to be friends with private landowners.
Right.
And I don't know where that came from, but it sure seems like that's kind of the
It is, and I talked to Jeb about that, and I said, when we were talking about CWD, and I said the number one thing that I think the Game and Fish should be doing right now is landowner relationship and habitat. I said, that $70 million is coming in for CWD. I said, just think if you could spend half of that on habitat, to the and doing things with private landowners. Because I just listened to Stephen Rinaldi, and he nailed it. I think it's like 90% of the game that's killed in this country is killed on private land.
Yep.
So when everybody talks about the private landowner being the bad guy, that's not true. And I think those relationships need to be, cultured and taken care of.
So here's something that's also, I don't know where I know where I stand on it, but a lot of people don't agree with me. Large corporate farm and ranching. So I was in Union Center 3 weeks ago for a bull sale. Union Center, South Dakota. When you drive from Newell to that ranch, there is thousands upon thousands of acres that's under an organization called Texas Dakota LLC.
Yep.
And all of it's posted from somebody that lives in Texas, probably, I'm guessing. Right? So you're going to see more of the larger organizations, these co-ops, and LLCs, and you're going to start seeing these land. You're going to start seeing it go away, man. You're not going to have your local farmers. Nobody's going to be local anymore. All this private land is going to be run by somebody out of state, and by God, they want to come up and bird hunt once or twice a year. They're not going to let anybody on it, and it's only going to get worse. So I'm not a big fan of those big, large organizations.
No, and I don't know how a guy can do it because you don't want. I've sometimes said, should there be a cap on how much land a outfitter can grab? And I don't like rules and regulations, but I sometimes think that when you got 100,000 acres to hunt and you only hunt 10,000 of it or 10% of it a year, what about the other part of it?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with these big corporate farms. And we were talking about it, that a small farmer seems like they can't make it anymore. So then they sell out, and then it's this huge, and we see some of these guys. I got guys that I know farm 30, 40,000 acres, but they're a family and they let people hunt. But when these big corporations come in, it changes things drastically.
And another thing too, that somebody brought to me, they asked me, well, Scott, what's big? And that's true.
Yeah.
You when you like down in Texas, the 4-6s or the King Ranch, those guys have been there forever in that family and generation after generation. They're probably looking at it like this is an average size ranch in our area.
Yeah. But it's a family owned ranch, right?
Right. That's what I think. I agree.
Because that's the difference between family and corporate
investors, I should say. Yeah.
Yep.
These football players that are buying up land out in the Badlands, pissing me off, man.
Oh, who is there?
Oh yeah.
Well, I know Carson Wentz was trying to buy land somewhere in North Dakota, but he bought some in Texas, and I don't know if he ever bought anything here. But again, if it's a local guy and you live here, and I'm not sure how they're going to do it. And I know there's changes coming because of the mule deer and the population and the amount of hunters. And like I said, North Dakota, when you look east, there's just not any habitat. So it's put more pressure. CW or EHD has put more pressure on the Badlands. So I don't know what's going to happen out there.
I don't know either, but something's got to change. I know the Forest Service is going to bring back the travel management plan that they tried to do back in the early 2000s or early 2010s. There's a lot of trails that are on these maps that don't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a lot of land trades, surface that is traded, that the maps are not correct. And there are also a lot of lawsuits that have been finalized now that shows that the Forest Service doesn't have any easements going across private property.
Mm-hmm.
So those trails need to be taken off. Or at least they need to be mentioned that you need permission to cross this part of the trail.
Well, I like, that's one thing I like about South Dakota. Everything is walk-in access only.
Yep.
Now I can, and I learned this. So,
everything is assumed posted.
Right. I went to, I was down there and I was hunting state land, and I was like, okay, I wanted to have, and it was a long ways to get into this water tank. Well, and I called, as long as the rancher is running it, you can get permission from that rancher to drive across that state land. Yep. And you can drive it anywhere you want, which was really nice for me because I was like, he goes, well, go check my cattle tanks.
Yeah.
For scouting. He goes, check my water tanks and you're good. He goes, but then I called because I wanted to make sure. And they go, no, if you have permission from the rancher on state land, because it's a blue, just like our state land, he goes, you can drive on it. And I was like, well, that's nice. But I just believe that hunting has been made too easy for everybody. And you have to put a little skin in the game. And so if you got to walk in, and again, if you're handicapped, there's always exceptions.
Exactly. Absolutely.
And if you talk to that rancher and you pull up in a wheelchair, how many ranchers are going to say no to that guy?
Yeah.
Probably will drive him out there himself.
Yep. Probably put him on a great place because the rancher knows where this stuff is. And
that's what people don't understand. I said the number one guy. That's why I talk to people is talk to the rancher, even if they don't hunt. They know where all their animals. They'll say, "Well, I really don't pay attention." But I did see, down here the other day, and that means that he's seen it multiple times. It's like, yeah, I'm such a firm believer in that relationship building. It's just, it's gotten me through my life. You think about it. Think of the way you are. The reason where you're at in life is because your communication skills, you're a nice guy, and you build relationships. And that's the same way. I have gotten through school. I've gotten through life by being a nice guy and just building relationships. It goes so far in this world.
And it doesn't even cost anything to be nice.
No. And that's the thing is that, you can stand up for what you believe in, but just do it nicely.
So a couple more messages come in. It says, it's nice to have the game warden's cell phone number in case you need it and just to talking to him about stuff. Another one says that's a bad part about the farmland being $7,000 an acre. The little producer can't make it pencil out anymore. And Levi says even the price of land rent nowadays. And I agree. It's these bigger operators. And congratulations, they're doing something. I don't know what they're doing different than what I'm doing, but taking bigger risks or something. But I am really getting pushed out in my area, John. It is so hard. My lease place, man. There's like 8 big guys that want to take that away from me, and I'm afraid they're going to succeed at it eventually.
And again, it is tough because it seems like in our neck of the woods, no one will lease land to their neighbor. They don't. It's like a failure if you let your neighbor do it. And the old days where it'd be like if you were going to lose your place or had to sell it, you'd want it to go to someone that you knew. And now it's like you don't. And I think one benefit for you is that you have built relationships with people. So hopefully they hang on to you, even though they will be offered more money by someone else.
I hope so. But man, just try to be a good neighbor is all I try to do. And I think Levi can attest to this because when he came down for branding last year, I think he's seen, we had a community there.
Yep.
More people than we needed, but until we got to the second branding where there's like 400 different little draws that you got to come up out of, but other than that,
well, it is. And I think that's why Levi has done well in his life because he's the nicest kid in the world. He ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm sure he's listening.
He's hard at work watching YouTube right now.
Yeah, but he helps more people and does more things, and he's gained more access and stuff like that because he's just a good kid. And he's always been that's how I met him. He was that way when he was 8 years old. So
here's a good saying. Jay Berg, a buddy of mine here. This is such a true thing when you talk about land, when you talk about neighbors outbidding you or anything like that. When you owe the bank $1 million, they own you. If you owe the bank $1 billion, you own them. So I'm going to go for the $1 billion.
That's a pretty good way to say it.
Isn't it true though? Yeah. It really is.
The deeper you get in debt, the more you owe them.
Well, and the thing is, I try to pay my loans off a little ahead of time. I'm, very conscientious about that. And it seems like it's harder and harder for me to make it work. And you see another guy going in there, and they went bankrupt 3 times, and they're over there buying land for $3,000 an acre in Slope County.
And the sad thing about that is when my dad used to talk about it, that used to be the biggest pet peeve of his, is these guys that would write things down through bankruptcy and then continue to operate and buy more land and do things. And it's like, and here he's busting his butt, paying every bill he has,
Yeah.
And it's like, and again, I guess if you can look at yourself in the mirror, it's kind of like shooting a deer in the dark. If that's what you want to do and you can hang it up on a wall. And I shouldn't say that's the same thing, because I know it's tough farming. But again, if you're able, and some of these guys have to do it because bad things have happened. But there's other guys that know exactly what they're doing.
They're very smart at how to use those programs.
Oh, they do. They farm the system. They farm the programs, and that's sad. Because it makes it tough for a guy that is actually trying to do it the right way.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you. So, let me look at my calendar. I know you have school. You always have school.
I know. Like I said, I you know what? I just got to make it time. I don't have to come down for a brand. I can come down and help you fix fence or do something.
Well, hold on. So this year, May is a little goofier. May 26th is, I might have to go to June 2nd on my branding.
Oh, shit, and I'm going to be bear hunting probably. I got to figure that out.
Yeah.
I know. I just got to
see how that goes there. I might have to go June 2nd. I think the 26th might be just one week earlier than I need to be.
Well, if you go June 2nd, then that's on what, a Friday, right?
Yeah.
I might be able to make it back then, because I would be going right on Friday, the 26th, and going up there right away when school is over, is our plan. And then we usually come back, depending on how it goes, usually come back in the middle of the week sometime.
Yeah,
I'll figure it out.
Jason, hey, if you change your date, let me know. I got to get it in my calendar. I'm not positive yet, Jay. I'm just looking at this because I think I kept some of my third cycle cows, and I want to make sure those calves are at least a week or 10 days old. So that's the only thing I'm looking at there. So,
do you got room for a guy that's a beginner? Like I said, I'm a beginner. I haven't drug a damn calf to the fire in a long time. It's been probably 10 years, I bet, since I've roped.
So you're just assuming that you get the rope at a branding right away.
No. I'm thinking I wouldn't last on the ground very long. I'd have to give shots or do something else, because I don't know how often I could get up and down anymore. You never know. Like I say, get a few beers in me, Scott. I might be rolling with the young kids.
You damn right you will. Yeah.
And the roping part of it, I just got to do at least one, get a picture, I got to look like Yellowstone.
I don't care what anybody says, man. We got to, if you're at your own branding, I don't care how old you are, or how I should say for myself. If it's my branding, I'm the first calf, the first damn calf coming out of that pen is I'm wrestling that son of a bitch. So
yeah, but you're still young. You're still frick. Like I said, I don't know how my shoulders or anything would handle anymore. Like I said, you never know. It's kind of funny what adrenaline does to you, and pride when everybody's watching.
Pride. So Jay Berg says, have John jump in with us. We have horses for him, and a tuxedo jacket is required if you're going to be if you're going to be roping. So
okay, I think I got a few sport coats or something left. I think from the old days.
Levi says, I need to see John wrestle some calves, and then the guns on the 701 here. Jamie Knockley said, Jamie, I'm out on working calves, but I can still build fence. So,
well, like I said, but some of my most enjoyable times have been working cattle with people. Back in the old days when it was Arnie Bendish and stuff, man, we had the chuck wagon. You spent the night under the stars. It was the old school, and it was fun.
Yeah. Well, I wish we had more places for people to actually stay so they can enjoy the party at the end. I got places. I got a tent and a cot, and I'm good there. That's all I need. Well,
there
that one branding, I think a lot of us slept outside anyway. So There's no doubt. But then we can do the Saturday morning show then the following morning, which is always entertaining.
Yeah. Nope.
Well, hey, man, I better get over to the stock show.
Hey, have fun. Shelby was just there this week. She said it was a blast.
Yeah, she'll enjoy this area. I mean, and tell her
she
is. I mean, I don't know if she has my number or not, but I mean, tell her if she ever needs anything or thinking of anything that way. I mean, if she wants to get on the radio with me, hell, she can drive up here and join me here at the place. And I mean, why not, right? I mean, good grief.
No, she's loving life. Like I said, it's hard. She posted pictures last night, and I said, you traded us in for a newer model because it's the boyfriend's mom and dad, and they're 10 years younger than us, and they're a good family. And she's like, no, I didn't. I said, I'm feeling like I'm traded in because she's down there. I said, it's hard. I said, it's hard being a dad, and I said, I'm happy for her. So I just know this, that if she happens to get married, which I don't know if it will happen, but I think we will be pulling up stakes and moving to South Dakota.
I'm telling you this right now, John, if you need to come out and enjoy it a little bit, come down to the condo here and
I appreciate
stay for a weekend and look it out. I'm just seeing if I have Shelby's number in here. I do. I don't know if it's the same one. I got a 391-1054.
Yep. Yeah. Text her. She'd be tickled.
Okay.
Or Snapchat her. You're a snapper.
I don't know if I have her on Snapchat though.
Like I said, it's funny how that I got on there just because of her, and she responds to Snap way better than she does text.
I know a lot of people do that to me too, and I guess it is what it is. It's another way of communicating, John, and it's okay, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't figured it out quite yet, but
all right, man. You have yourself a good one.
Man, thanks a lot.
You bet. See you, John.
Bye-bye.
You bet. Hey, YouTube, thanks for hanging with me here. I appreciate it. We were just sitting there. It's a good little bullshitting session here toward the end of the day or at the end of the show. Again, if you see me at the stock show, swing up, say hi, and I guess just have a good weekend. I think, what is it? Next weekend, I'll be in the Mandan area, so be ready for that. Do the show. If you know someplace with really good upload speed in and around Bismarck, Mandan, that's what I need. So have yourself a good day.